Hi everyone. In this video, I would like to talk about sets. Sets in JavaScript are basically collections of value. And we can create a set using the set object. And the reason that we would use set as opposed to our normal array is one reason is that within a set, we cannot have repetitive items. So if an item is already within a set, we cannot add it. And we can have a set of anything. So the values of a set could be primitive types such as string, number, begin, boolean, undefined symbol, and null, or it could be of an object type. It doesn't really matter. And let's go ahead and let's create a set, and we're going to talk about it as we move along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const, if I can spell it correctly, my first set, and we're going to use the set constructor. So this is going to be the set object or set constructor to create a set for us. So this has initiated an empty set. We can take a look at it in the console. My first set, and when I save it, you can see that it is a set object and the size of it is 0, and you can see it looks like an object. Let's go ahead and let's add items to the set, and I'm gonna keep the console log at the bottom. So I'm gonna say my first set. Now the way that we can add items to the set is using the add method, and that is the first method right there. So let's say I want to add a number 5, and as soon as I save it, you can see we have an object that has a number 5. Now the syntax looks like an object, but it doesn't have any key value pairs. It's just like an array. If you would convert an array, the square brackets of an array, and change it with curly braces, it's exactly like that. We could add another item, 25. We could add a string, hey. There we go. So we could add different types, and sets, they cannot have repetitive items, and you can visualize that by, if I just go ahead and re-add the value of 5, you can see in here we just have 5 once. It doesn't matter how many times you would want to add it. It can't have a set, technically cannot have repetitive items. You can't add that. Now sets, another difference between set and an array is that sets are not index based. They do not have indices. So when they don't have indices, we kind of lose access to the property length that we have on an array. But we do have another property that is called size that is going to give us the size of a set, and we can use that one. So I'm going to say my first set dot size, and there we go. It just gave us the size 3. We can find out the values and the keys of a set. And I'm just going to come here. I'm not going to comment these ones because these are pretty simple and pretty self-explanatory. My first set dot keys. And as soon as I save it, you can see it gives us a set iterator. I'm going to talk about that in like a few seconds. We can also take a look at the values as well, and it's going to give us the same thing. So I think it was in the promises lecture that I talked about if the value and the key for any property of an object is the same thing, you can just remove one and just keep one. So you could think of sets in that manner, like it has a key of 5 and it has a value of 5. But instead of saying, okay, const set my set, instead of saying, okay, like this, 5 is the key and 5 is the value, instead of repeating this, we can just say 5. And instead of saying, okay, hey is the key and hey is the value, instead of doing this, what we could do is we could just say, okay, hey is the key and the value. This, you can think of sets in this manner. That's why the keys and the values, they actually work on a set, because sets do have some common grounds with an array, and they do have some common grounds with an object, with a regular JavaScript object because of their syntax, because of this curly braces. So you can think of sets in that manner, that it is an object that has the same key value, the same value for a key and a value. That's why we shorten it and we just write one thing. But it is an iterable. That's what it means by set iterator. A set iterator is something that you can iterate through using like for each or for of loop that we've been talking so much about. So I'm going to say my first set dot for each, and I'm going to say entry, and what do we want to do here? Let's log it to the console. I could just do it right here. Console.log entry. Let's save that, and it's basically going to give us the entries. I'm going to get rid of these console logs so nothing is confusing. 5, 25, and hey. And we know that objects are not iterable, right? But we talked about how we could like basically move past that and iterate through them. And you can do this with a set. You can also use the regular old or regular new for of loop. Const entry in my first, I could just call it item in my first set, console log item. Let's save that. There we go. It should give us the same thing. Let's save it. For const in my first set, let me change it to let. Let's save that. Didn't give us. Oh, why am I saying in? It should be of. There we go. 5, 25, and hey. And it should still work with const. There we go. It works. We could delete an item from a set. And these are basically some set methods that I'm going to be talking about. So I could comment them, but I'm not going to. It's very simple. If I grab my first set and if I say delete, this is how you can delete a specific value from a set. Let's say I want to delete the number 25. And where is our console log? This is the one. Let's put it down below so we can take a look at our set live. So we don't have those two values. We can clear our set entirely by using the clear method. And this is going to clear it out. The size is 0. Cool. Everything is cool so far. And we can create a set from an array as well. I'm going to say const fruits. I'm going to say new set. Let's initiate or instantiate a new set. And within here, I'm basically going to pass in an array. And the good thing, again, strawberry. Let me just add the values first. Peach. And then not period. It has to be a comma. And then grape. Now, the reason that you would want to use sets over arrays is that within a set, you can have repetitive items. It is not index-based, and it has some ups and some downs. We can say console.log fruits. Save that. There we go. Strawberry, peach, and grape. We could create a set from an array in a different manner as well. So I'm going to show that to you as well right here. Let's say we have an array of const names. I want you to have this lecture as a reference for sets, and it is going to include everything you will ever need probably when it comes to sets. So we have John, Clint, and we have Joseph. Cool. We could say const employee names is going to be equal to new set, and let's pass in the names there. And we could say console.log employee names, and it's going to give us a set with a size of 3. I've already talked about adding repetitive stuff and how it's not going to work. I did talk about how sets are not index-based, but I didn't give you an example of that. So I'm going to give you an example right here. Let's say I want to grab the value with an index of 0. It's going to give me an undefined. Let's say if I want to grab a value with a value with the index of 2, it's still going to give me undefined because they are not index based. And finally, we could also check if a value exists within a set. So for that, immediately I'm going to say console.log. Let's say within the employees, you want to check if you have an employee by the name of John. And as you imagine, it returns a Boolean value. So that's it. That's everything you need to know about sets. See you in the next video.